Geek to me radio, da 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 da. Geek to me radio, da 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 da. Welcome, boys and girls, geeks and nerds, to another exciting episode of Geek to Me Radio. Today I've got geek guests galore. We'll be talking to Devin Pike from Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve, Casey Walsh from the Geeks Worldwide, and following that up with a talk with Amanda Strupp from Christmas Traditions here in St. Charles, so stand by. We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. And if you're local here in the St. Louis area, welcome. We are being simulcast on 1260 and 1380 as well. So we're being broadcast on 2 stations already. We're growing. It's expanding. It's exciting. And if you've listening to Points online, if you're listening streaming on the website or via the app, we thank you for listening. And if you're listening to this after the fact in the podcast, we greatly appreciate you as well. We have a lot of guests to get to, so we are going to jump right into it. My first guest, when I first met this man, you can't make this stuff up, he was having a sword fight with Syrio Florell from Game of Thrones, and that's not an introduction. I don't know what is. We're talking with Mr. Devin Pike from Geek Expos. Devin, thanks for coming on the show with us.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I'm sorry that I can't have the same kind of entrance that I did with Miltos. So, it's one of those things where you have to take your sword fights where they come. You have to actually just, raise your sword and duel.
Exactly. And that's hard to top that kind of intro too. When I first saw you, I was like, wow, I don't know if I can talk to this guy now, but you turned out to be very nice. We had a nice chat, had a fantastic time down at Geekonomicon OKC. It was so incredible. The earth literally moved that weekend.
Sincerely, it was a massive earthquake about an hour north of us in Enid, Oklahoma, that shook the actual entire hotel where we were hosted for Geekonomicon, and that was if there was not an actual way to wake up every morning, I prefer to never do that again, ever.
That was very intense, and that's I think Greg Grunberg will never forget me because I popped my head out of the hotel door, and he's 2 doors down from me, and we're looking at each other, and he says, "Was that an effing earthquake?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it was." So we're checking our apps on our phone, trying to find out where it was. So Greg Grunberg and I are earthquake buddies, which is another fantastic story now.
To hell with thunder buddies. Earthquake buddies is much better.
Exactly. And I've got to say that the time I had down there at Geekonomicon OKC was fantastic, and I went away with chills. Going home, you have your kind of post-con blues after the fact from any con, but this one particularly because of the level of people you had. You reunited the Doctor Who cast from the Doctor Who movie. That was the big selling point for me, but you had so many fantastic guests, and you guys are doubling down for the upcoming Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve.
Well, when you have Stan the Man Lee celebrating his 94th birthday with us, you have to basically pull out other stops to make sure that the guest list is equally up to the task. So it's going to be a magnificent 4-day event. I'm actually, I ran out from the restaurant to hop on with you because we're actually in our planning sessions right now. We're trying to get everything locked in by Wednesday because once Thanksgiving hits, you're pretty much, there's nothing else to be done,
right,
except just to watch the dominoes wherever they fall. So it's been 9 months in the making, and we got 1 more month until we, tear it up at the Sheraton Dallas. It's going to be fantastic.
And if you go online right now, folks, if you go to geekexpos.com, you can click the link and see just the roster of guests. As if Stan Lee wasn't enough, you've got Nichelle Nichols, who as soon as you made that announcement, I was like, I have to see Nichelle Nichols. That's Star Trek sci-fi royalty right there.
Absolutely, and it's technically the last week that you can celebrate Star Trek's 50th anniversary. So not only do we have Nichelle Nichols from Trek, we've got Ethan Phillips and Robert Picardo from Star Trek Voyager. We've got Glenn Morshower, who, of course, everybody remembers him as Agent Pierce from 24. He was also a crew member on both Star Trek Generations and popped up every now and then on Star Trek The Next Generation. So he's there. And then this is the piece that I didn't really put together until Chris Ransdell, the CEO of Geek Expos, let me know this. Felix Sela is somebody we all remember. He was in the suit for Twiki for Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. He was also one of the Telosians in The Cage, the first pilot that was shot for Star Trek. And, of course, we saw it in the two-parter in Menagerie. So Felix will be there as well. So we're bridging generations.
Nice.
So it's a way to celebrate Star Trek's 50th, and it's just one facet of this show that I just can't get over the fact that we've actually put together.
And if people are thinking, it's a sci-fi thing, or Stan Lee, cool, but there's so many other guests from so many other genres. Another thing that I was excited about, you've got the voice cast of Animaniacs.
When they gave me the keys and said, start booking guests, one of the first calls I made was to the agents of Rob Paulson, Tress MacNeille, Jess Harnell, and Maurice LaMarche, because I've always been an Animaniacs fan, but I'm also a massive voice actor nut. We know them from that. That's their biggest credit, but they've done so much other work in voice acting and animation over the last 3 decades. They're all amazing people, and it's the first time that we've had all 4 of them at one show in, I want to say, North Texas, and definitely probably Texas in general. They're all magnificent folks, and what the stuff we've got planned for them for their Q&A is really, really fun, because it's going to be a blast just tossing stuff at them and hearing whatever voices that come out of their heads. It's going to be phenomenal.
And, of course, there's all sorts of pop culture. You've got Ming Chang and Brian Johnson from Comic Book Men.
And then on top of that, we're actually doing kind of a Jersey takeover. Not only do we have Meg and Brian from Red Bank, but we've also got from Clerks, Jason Mewes, Brian O'Halloran, who played Dante, Marilyn Gigliotti, who played Veronica, and Scott Schiaffo, who incited a riot because he wanted to sell more Chuli's gum at the Quick Stop. And the great thing with those guys is we're actually doing a screening at the Alamo Drafthouse here in Dallas with those 4 actors doing a live commentary while Clerks is playing. So that's going to be fantastic. Tickets for that go on sale Monday, and they're going to sell out in an hour. It's going to be ridiculous. And
they can get those tickets through the website for the Geek Expos website.com, correct?
We'll have a link there, but also probably the easiest thing to do, because the ticket will be done through Alamo Drafthouse. Go to drafthouse.com/DFW. Okay. And once the tickets hit, just start hitting refresh about 9 a.m. on Monday on your browser, because they'll be gone as soon as they go on sale.
I have no doubt. That sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Almost like just you're hanging out with the cast, watching the movie. That's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm. And then also the previous night on Wednesday, it's kind of like a preview event. We're bringing in, and your audience is actually the first to hear about this, because we just signed the details for it. Sam Jones, as we all know from Flash Gordon,
yes,
and the younger kids know him from Ted, but I prefer Flash Gordon. We just signed Sam to appear at Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve, and we're doing a live commentary screening on Wednesday night at the Alamo of Flash Gordon with him in-house. So that's just one more facet of the show.
So it's a big 4-day con, and you can get the tickets online, geekexpos.com. There's so much to do. I'd recommend getting the 4-day pass, because there are so many things you can add on. That's the great thing, too, is you don't have to have the big Stan Lee package to get in and do this and this. You can actually add on things. Everything's a la carte. Yeah?
Precisely. You can get a 1-day general admission pass for whichever of the 4 days you want to be there, from the 29th of December all the way through to January 1st. The vast majority of our guests will be there all 4 days. So if there's a specific person you want to go to see, whether it's Claudia Christian from Babylon 5 or Christina Wren from the Zack Snyder Superman movies, any of those guest, you'll be able to see it on all 4 days and get a photo op or an autograph ticket as well. And then there's New Year's Eve as well, where we have 4 different parties to choose from, and we have 2 levels of party passes that you can add on to any ticket package. So the possibilities really are endless. And then we've also got vacation packages as well. If you want to just drop one amount for general admission, 4-day pass, and your hotel, or same thing with VIP, that's all available at marvelousnye.com as well.
Perfect. And so you can check that out, get the website. I know you guys have been doing a lot of live Facebook stuff, so you want to follow Facebook page for this as well. Devin, thank you so much. I'll let you get back to your restaurant you're planning. Thanks for coming on the air with us.
It's a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you back in another month. I won't be in a sword fight, but I might be in the middle of a 24-hour film race. So we'll get caught up when you get back in town.
Sounds good. Thanks very much, Devin. And we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this with more. Stand by.
Hello, my name is Sylvester McCoy. I want you to listen to Geek to Me Radio. Otherwise, if you don't, I'll cry.
Sylvester McCoy, obviously most famous for playing the 7th incarnation of the Doctor in the Doctor Who series, and also Radagast in the Hobbit trilogy. Another one of the guests who you'll be able to see if you go to the Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve. Devin and I were talking about the guest list. So many guests we didn't even get to mention Sylvester McCoy among them. So if you've never met the 7th Doctor and you're a Whovian, make sure to check them out again. The website, geekexpos.com. Click on the Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve. They even have a couple coupons up there, little deals you can get for some Black Friday madness. If you're looking for something to get, that might be the way to go. And I promised you a whole treasure trove of geeky guests. We are going to go right now to our very next guest who fits that bill, Mr. Casey Walsh from the Geeks Worldwide. Casey, thanks for taking the time to come on air with us.
Thanks, James. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. So the Geeks Worldwide, I know we follow each other on Twitter. We retweet each other, and tell us a little bit about the website, which is thegww.com.
Yeah, so my kind of vision for Geeks Worldwide is to kind of create where fans and geeks can kind of come together and share their opinions openly and freely without too much criticism or editorial input. Basically a place where amateurs can come and hone their craft and share their creativity and their love for their fandom in an open, safe space where I will try to share it with the world the best that I can.
And how long has the website been around? How long has this been something? Tell us a little bit how it started.
So it started out as a website it's called Geeks with Wives. And we were going around and we started as kind of covering video games first. And then when I joined back about 5 years now, we opened up the comics side of things. I'm a huge comics fan. So I joined the crew kind of getting into comics. And then it kind of went from there. We started getting into more conventions and getting more access and actually becoming a legitimate press outlet. And as we went around, we kind of found that the Geeks with Wide name was not inclusive.
Sure,
and got
yeah.
a lot of weird stares and stuff, especially from female creators and actresses and things.
Right.
So we kind of went back to the drawing table and we're like, hey, how can we kind of keep our brand name around the GWW and still be inclusive to everybody, all sexes and races and all that stuff, and not just these 40-year-old men talking about superheroes and comic books and video games and stuff. So that's when we came up with kind of the Geeks Worldwide kind of theme, and then we moved it to thegww.com, and that's kind of where we're at now.
And obviously you touched on that too. The comic book genre, I guess it always has been, but now that everything is online, we're seeing even more just how truly diverse the audience is as far as the comic books reading and the love of the genre.
Yeah, it's really growing. In fact, I got up this morning at 9 o'clock to go to my local comic book store because today is local comic shop day. So if you have a local comic shop near you, make sure you guys are going there. They have exclusive deals and stuff going on right now. So yeah, I woke up at 9 o'clock and went there and stood in line. And I was first person in line because I'm a maniac, but everyone behind me were young kids and young adults, old and young, and female and male. And it's really something that's changed. I've been collecting comics since I was 10 years old, and when I would go to a comic book store, then you would never see kids or girls and he was always 4-year-old white men complaining about superheroes.
Right.
And so that seemed to change a lot, and I attribute that a lot to Marvel, the Marvel movies, and specifically Iron Man, and him kind of jump-starting that trend that's really kind of exploding now.
Yeah, we just had Susan Eisenberg on the show last weekend, and we talked about comic books and the genre and the expanding demographic of who are taking it in. And I told her, I said, I was doing this before it was cool, before it became mainstream to like comic books. My very first comic was the Superpowers series, the volume 2, where Batman and the Flash and Robin team up. They travel to Apokolips to stop Darkseid. That was my. Do you remember your first comic?
I do. This is a weird story, and this goes out to the Costco kids out there. So my parents are always like bargain hunters. So we went to Costco one time, and they were selling like 50 comics, like in bundles.
Huh.
But the first comic was always like the seller comic, and they were at that moment they were going through the Death of Superman stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I bought every bundle they had. So I ended up with like 100 comics for like $20 or something. And yeah, and it all contained the Death of Superman. So that's really what was the first comic I really remember, specifically reading, just sitting down and just intaking every moment of it and really loving it. I know it's not liked upon now because it kind of killed the comic book genre in the 90s, but that was really a comic that kind of set the pace for my comic book love. And then it became and it was all about, like, you remember Judge Dredd versus Aliens?
Sure,
and
yeah.
And those crazy, Dark Horse comics. And then I really got into those because those were, like, forbidden fruit in my house. My parents were super, like, hippy-dippy people. So violence was never cool. Sex and drugs, fine. But whenever things got too violent...
That's a different kind of comic book.
Yeah, they intervened. So those became, like, my under the bed comics I just love, and now whenever I see those, I kind of go crazy because they're really hard to find now.
I think that was my first Dark Horse comic. Actually, was RoboCop versus Terminator.
Oh yeah, I remember that one for sure. And I think there was also a video game that came out around the same time too.
Yeah, that may have been true. Yeah, on Super Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Those were awesome comics. Like I said, not for kids especially, but
right.
For some reason in the 90s and late 80s, like, we were allowed to intake heavily rated R stuff, and no one seemed to really care that much. I think now kids are much more looked over and watched upon.
Right.
I don't think my daughter could get away with watching Terminator, but I was for sure watching it when I was 10.
Yeah, times have changed, but certain things haven't either. It's kind of interesting how that happens. With the Geeks,
but it's a lot more fun now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, with the Geeks Worldwide. So you've got the Worldwide, and I know you just recently asked me to be a contributor, which I was hesitant because, as Groucho Marx said, I won't belong to any club that would have me as a member. But thank you for inviting me to be a contributor. So what is the range of the contributors you have? Like, do we have like Australian contributors? Do you have an idea?
Oh man, yeah, we contributors really all over the world. I mean, the worldwide thing is certainly true. I mean, all over the United States, definitely. Canada, for sure. I mean, we just picked up these guys called the Naughty by Nature podcast, and Canadian guys who are really into D&D and just all around nerdy stuff. And their last episode, they were talking about kind of like Canadian finances. And so, and then we had contributors in Sweden, Norway, London, England. Yeah, I don't think anybody in Australia, but if anyone listening from Australia, I'll happily take you. But yeah, I mean, literally we have people from all over the world covering everything geeky, from Doctor Who to Dungeons and Dragons to video games to comic books to every TV show and movie out there.
And there is so much overlap between the genres. I just had some guests in studio with me 4 weeks ago, I think, and they were talking about how they were a wrestling fan, and the wrestling fans also like the comic books. There's such a crossover between all the different genres, it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, I found myself kind of in that predicament as well. As much of a predicament is, but there is so much crossover, and when people come to kind of join our thing, it's like, well, what do you want me to write about? And I never have an answer for them because I just want them to write about whatever they're passionate about. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, it could be whatever you want. It could be comic books today. It could be wrestling tomorrow. It can be a deep, dark indie movie the next day, or you can write about the new Metallica album. Like, we really don't have any restrictions. We just want to make sure that your fandom is being expressed most of all. And I think that's really important, especially in the kind of geek journalism subfield right now, which is kind of a mess. and it's crazy and it's kind of exclusive. We kind of try to break that exclusivity and really say, listen, anyone can do this. It's not something that's exclusive to these core group of people. If you put in the work and the time, then you have every right to be in this club as they do.
Perfect. So it's very inclusive, which is what we try to be all about, especially in the comic book realm. We want everyone to feel at home and comfortable and be able to express their joy of the fandom. So if you want to check out the website again, it's thegww.com for the Geeks Worldwide. Casey, thanks very much for being on the air with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. And if you're listening now, we are live streaming with Diablo creator David Brevik on Twitch at twitch.tv/thegww. Right now, we're playing Diablo 2 with David Brevik. So go check that out if you guys are listening.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks, James. Have a good one.
You too. That was Casey Walsh from the Geeks Worldwide. I am James Enstall from Geek to Me Radio. We will be right back after this.
Hi, this is Tova Felcher from The Walking Dead. I play Deanna Monroe, and I'm happy to be on Geek to Me Radio.
We are back on Geek to Me Radio. We just got the phone with Casey Walsh from the Geeks Worldwide, and we talked earlier with Devin Pike from Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve. And I would like to take this time to remind you to visit our premier sponsor, HistoricSt.Charles.com. They've got all sorts of things to see and do. It's such it's a jewel nestled right here in the heart of the area. You just cross over the Blanchette Bridge. You're right there in the heart of Old Town St. Charles, the historic cobblestone streets, the unique dining and shopping experiences they offer. It's really like taking a step back in time. It's something for all ages, the entire family. There's something for everyone to do. You can check out their website, HistoricSt.Charles.com, for a list of stuff going on. For example, right now, Saturday, November 19th, at the Foundry Arts Center, they have the Sentimental Journey Holiday Concert. And you can check that out. They have the Sentimental Journey Dance Band at the Foundry Arts Center. Big band, if you like music like that, and who doesn't? You can go check them out there and plan your trip. See what there is to see and do. There's something for everyone at HistoricSt.Charles.com. And the big, big draw every year is their Christmas festival, Christmas Traditions. And right now, we're going online to the boss of Christmas herself, Amanda Strupp. Amanda, thanks for being on the show.
Oh. Amanda got scared. She just ran away.
Oh, Amanda.
Let me call her right back.
Joey, was it something you said?
No, I think she just didn't like your commercial for the exact same thing she's trying to promote. Job done, I guess, maybe.
Maybe she thought that was it. I don't know. So we'll get her back on the phone here. But yeah, Christmas Traditions, if you're not familiar with it, it's an event that goes on every year. I think this is the 42nd year that the festival has been going. So it's the longest running and I think the largest Christmas festival in the country. People come from all over the world to see this. There's always people coming in we have some people come from France. We've actually had people from Russia come in years past. And it's very international in its scope. There are different international Santas. We have carolers dressed in historical period costumes, singing period carols and more. And I think we have the boss of Christmas, Amanda, back on the phone. Amanda, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, James.
Hello. So I was just telling the folks about Christmas Traditions, but you're probably more capable of explaining it than I am. So tell us a little bit about the festival.
Well, it's a lot of Christmas magic on historic Main Street. So we've got carolers and we've got characters and we've got Santas from around the world, chestnut roasters and parades. And it's just a lot of fun on Main Street.
And this is, I think I said that correctly, this is the 42nd year it's been going on, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yep, the 42nd year.
And they've got, you can see all this, they've got links to it on the website, HistoricSt.Charles.com. How long have you been running the festival?
So I have been the director. This is my 4th year. I've been involved with the festival for, I think, about 8 years now. So I started just as a worker bee and then worked my way up.
See, so you can work your way up to the top. That's America right there. That's
perfect. Yes.
So what would you say, since you started as a worker bee and then you became, as I like to call you, the boss of Christmas, what's the best part for you?
Really, it's when you see all the people come down to the street and you know that you're helping make their Christmas. These people come down every year from all over the country, different places in the world, to be in this Christmas moment. And it's amazing to see what you're adding to their life.
And there's so much to see and do. Like you said, there are chestnut roasters. It really takes you back to that Victorian time where you can kind of slow down. You don't have obviously there's a lot of people, but it's not that crazy hustle and bustle. Hey, I need to get the Teddy Ruxpin or whatever the kids are buying today, and the hustle and bustle of the malls. It's just so much more laid back than that, while still being crowded, and there's a lot of energy.
Right. Yeah. There's the streets get packed, and there's characters everywhere, and it's crazy and chaotic, but it doesn't feel like that because it feels like you're in a completely different place.
So in the last 30 seconds that we've got before we head to break, who's your favorite Christmas character?
Oh, I don't know. I'm very partial to the Sugar Plum Fairy, but I think that I would have to say that snarky Master and Rebels is probably my favorite.
He is such a jerk, but he is delightful, isn't he? I'd have to say so. But yeah, Sugar Plum Fairy, obviously lots of characters down there. Jack Frost, among many others. So you can check all that out and more at historicstcharles.com. Amanda, thank you very, very much for coming on and being part of the show today. And that was Amanda Strupp, the boss of Christmas. If you want to check out more, again, historicstcharles.com. Head on over to the website. Plan your trip now. It's coming up very quick. We start on Black Friday down there. So take a look. Check it out. We'll be back with more right after this.
What's this? What's this? There's color everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air. What's this? I can't believe my eyes. I must be dreaming. Wake up, Jack. This isn't fair. What's this?
Hey, this is Greg Grunberg, Snap Wexley from Star Wars, and it's all geek to me, my friends.
Welcome back to Geek to Me Radio. We had, if you're just now tuning in, thanks for listening. We had a flurry of guests that first half of the hour, I guess. We started talking with Devin Pike from Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve. You can get tickets to that. It's Stan Lee's last big hurrah outside the state of California. This is his last Comic-Con he's doing outside of California. He'll be turning 94, I believe. I think he's either 93 now, turning 94, or 94, turning 95. I think it's the former. But celebrating his birthday and New Year's Eve with a bunch of fans. Another thing Devin and I did not get the chance to mention is they are going for a world record attempt, an official Guinness Book of World Records for the most cosplayers in one location. And if you'd like to sign up for that, you can do that on the website as well, geekexpos.com. Click on the Marvelous Nerd Year's Eve. So much to do, so many guests to see. It's almost sensory overload seeing all the stuff. So check them out. And of course, we had Casey from the Geeks Worldwide on with us. I've just now been brought on as a contributor, which is exciting for me. Probably disappointing for them once they see what I contribute. But, you know, that's another story entirely. And then we just had Amanda Strupp from Christmas Traditions on. You can check them out. We're very proud to have Historic St. Charles as a sponsor of the show. And you can check out their website at historicstcharles.com. So there's a lot going on. If you're a geek, what a great time to be a geek. This past Monday, I just attended a screening at Fathom Events, the 50th anniversary of the Doctor Who classic, The Power of the Daleks, with Patrick Troughton. That was his first outing as the Doctor. It was the second Doctor. Took over from William Hartnell. Now, Joey, I had a chance to meet your very delightful girlfriend. She's the Whovian. Is she a fan of the classic series as well? I can't remember what you said.
No, everything recent is what she's like, I guess.
The new Who.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she's dragging you into it, though, right?
Both of you are. It's kind of, I'm going backwards, I'm going forwards. I actually do impressions from your return liners of like Sylvester McCoy and Paul McCann. She's like, I don't know who those guys are. I was like, come on. It's
disappointing.
How do I know more than you now?
Exactly. See, I'm glad you've gained something from this time that you spent with me, at least. I'm sorry for all the headaches, but at least you've gained that bit of knowledge. So that's great. But yeah, it's so much going on. The new Doctor Who, 12th Doctor, they're on their 12th Doctor, played by actor Peter Capaldi, the Christmas special. Another Fathom Events, they'll be doing a 2-day event. You can go to fathomevents.com, get your tickets. If you don't have access to the BBC America, which they always show on Christmas Day, the Christmas special, they've been doing it since 2005, was David Tennant's first appearance as the Doctor. The 10th Doctor was during a Christmas episode called The Christmas Invasion, and it's been a tradition ever since then. But you can go see it at Fathom Events. You can see it on the big screen for 2 days. I believe it's the 27th and the 29th of December, but you can check that out at fathomevents.com. They've got fantastic stuff going on there. And I also want to talk about next Saturday's show because it's a collaborative effort. Max on Movies, if you're in the St. Louis area, you know Max on Movies. He'll be joining us in studio here for our first ever trivia event. So if you are a fan of the geek genre in general, comic books, we're going to have comic book trivia. Movies, Max will be covering the movie trivia for us. We're going to try to have a guest come in to cover video game trivia. And of course, we'll have TV show trivia as well. There'll be your chance to call in. I'm not sure what the prize is going to be. We're going to assemble a pretty cool prize pack, though. If you're listening online, we can send it to you. It'll be something that you'll be able to use, I promise. Maybe an Amazon gift card. We might throw that in. Maybe an exclusive Funko Pop vinyl for your collection. Maybe some Jelly Babies if you're a Doctor Who fan. But we're going to get a cool prize pack together for you. And make sure you take down the number now, 855-770-1260. That is a toll-free call from anywhere. Call in, answer a trivia question. You get a question right, we put your name in the drawing. At the end of the drawing, or at the end of the show, Joey V will pull a name out of the hat, and we will select that winner, and they'll get the prize pack for our first ever trivia event. Hopefully it'll be an annual thing.
I love it. Last week you gave away a video game that doesn't even exist yet, so you have to go build Injustice 2, I think. You have to go program it.
It's a lot of work.
And the girl that won it, she programmed her caller ID to be the name of Supergirl, right? Or it was
Wonder
crazy.
Girl.
Wonder Girl?
Yeah, Donna Troy, yeah.
I was like,
I didn't know you could do that with phones.
I said, James, Donna Troy's on the phone. He's like, what?
That's impossible. She's a fictional character.
We got duped, and she won. She deserved it.
Yeah, exactly right. If for nothing else, just for the caller ID thing she did. That was pretty cool.
We love you, Donna.
And Donna, if you're listening, thank you again. And that game is not released till March, but I'll be sending it off. But the prize pack we'll have in studio ready to ship out for whoever wins on Trivia Night. And you can check out Max on Movies. He's on Periscope. He's on Twitter as well. I recommend following him. Fantastic guy. Very, very knowledgeable about movies, which is why I asked him to come co-host the show, co-host the trivia event. Joey, is there any trivia that you're really up on? Like if we do Disney trivia, would you be able to handle a category for Disney trivia?
Yeah, I'll just give out the answers now. The Disney movie with the most Oscars is Mary Poppins. We're going to ask that next week, so just be ready.
See, if you're listening now, you've already got a leg up on the competition right there. Call and ask for a Disney question. That'd be fantastic. And I've got some other stuff going on. I've got the podcast has finally launched. Now that I think this is our 15th episode right now, which I'm not sure how I stayed on the air that long. But for all 4 of my followers, thank you for supporting me. We do have a new listener, actually. This is exciting, Joey. New listener on a sister station, 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Dave is listening. Dave does a similar show to this. I believe he's in Texas, I think he said, on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, but he's also with Salem Media.
I can't believe they let more people like you on the air.
I know, it's kind of crazy. It's a sad day when they're allowing more people like me on the air. But Dave, thank you for listening today. I hope you're enjoying the show and your ears aren't bleeding yet from the sound of my voice. So that puts us up to, I think, 5 listeners now total. So yay. And yeah, it's very exciting when you see people online connect with you and say, hey, you've got a show. That's cool.
I love watching your YouTube views go up. Every week I get the notification in my email saying you posted a new video because I'm a subscriber of your YouTube channel. And I immediately go watch it, and then I hit like on it, and I love seeing you succeed.
I appreciate that. And I really, honestly, truly wouldn't be where I am without all your help. You do, you record the podcast, you edit them, send them to me in email. It's like I don't have to do anything except show up and talk.
I've been tagging the city with your name of your show and your email. I've been spray painting your email and phone number everywhere. So we're going to get more listeners, more police investigations, stuff like that.
Pretty soon the FBI will be listening to the show. They'll be trying to gather evidence. It'll be fantastic.
They're always listening.
I know. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But yeah, thank you for all you do. Seriously. And thank you if you're listening right now. Like I said, we've got people listening online. You can stream us online from the website, 1260amtheanswer.com. Through a 1260 app. We're also available on the TuneIn Radio app. And I just found out today we're also broadcast on 1380 AM. So we're being simulcast on 2 different radio stations. I almost feel like I'm kind of a big deal, but not really. And of course, check out the website. Joey V was talking about my YouTube channel. I also do unboxing videos there. Those are very popular if you're a fan of the Marvel Collector's Core. And I'm actually going to start, now that I've got my Patreon site going, some exclusive deals. If you are one of my Patreons, there's a couple different levels. We're going to delve into my personal comic book and toy collection. We're going to do something I'm going to call retro unboxing. That's just a tease. I'm going to leave it there.
You're not supposed to open them.
Well, that's what they say, but I think that's just what, that's what the Germans would have you believe. We're not supposed to open them. Please, we'll do what I want. It's my show. And since it is my show, we're going to go ahead and take our last break, pay some bills. We'll be back with more after this on Geek to Me Radio. Stand by.
Hi, this is Greg Weisman, the creator of Gargoyles and co-creator of Young Justice, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio. Stay well.
That voice you heard, that of Greg Weisman, a guest of the show 2 or 3 episodes ago. I have all this archived. You can go to my website, geektomeradio.com, click on the YouTube link, and that will take you to an archive of the past shows. Those will slowly be listed as well. If you go to Podomatic.com, I just posted a link on my Facebook page where you can go to the Podomatic site. I have the podcast starting there as well. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Geek to Me Radio. And of course, Facebook.com/Geek to Me Radio. All sorts of different platforms on which you can find me. I'm like the wind. I'm everywhere. And we just had that announcement from Greg Weisman saying that Young Justice will be getting a highly anticipated and much deserved 3rd season. I'm assuming it'll go straight to Netflix. I wasn't clear on the details, but that's exciting to see. All sorts of things. If you're a superhero fan, coming up here in the next week or so, we're going to be starting the big crossover between Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and now Supergirl, which has moved from CBS to the CW. They're going to have the big alien invasion storyline. This is based on a comic book series that came out in the 80s, simply called Invasion. The comic books are notorious. They do these crossovers all the time. Obviously, you've seen the most recent ones with DC Rebirth, Marvel's Secret Wars, the new Secret Wars they've just had. They had Secret Wars originally back in the 80s, and DC's first one was Crisis on Infinite Earths. Well, this is going to be kind of along those lines. You're going to have all the superheroes from the 4 shows on the CW crossing over to fight an alien invasion. This coming Sunday, The Librarians returns to TNT. And that's a fantastic show. Executive producer Dean Devlin, who brought you shows like Leverage, movies like Independence Day, Librarians, where they basically, the premise is magic is real. And it's based on the Librarian movie trilogy. I think there were 3 in the original trilogy, but that's a TV series spinoff of that. Noah Wiley actually shows up. John Larroquette's in it. Rebecca Romaine. It's a fantastic show. Christian Kane also in that show. And of course, Sunday nights wouldn't be Sunday nights without The Walking Dead. We're about 4 or 5 episodes into season 7 of The Walking Dead. And it's been fantastic so far. They came out with a bang, or I guess you'd say a whack, with the opening season. I don't want to spoil it for anybody because we don't do spoilers on this show if we can avoid it. But Negan took out 2 members of Rick's group, just like in the comic books. Well, not just like in the comic books, but if you're a fan of the comic books, you kind of knew something was coming, and it did. And we're delving into this other group. We're kind of opening up the world a little bit more. We met King Ezekiel and his tiger Shiva. The Walking Dead. I'm telling you right now, though. You watch Walking Dead, Joey? I can't remember if you do or not.
No, but I'm caught up. I saw SNL. Dave Chappelle did like a little wrap up of everything that happened, so I know what it's about.
That was fantastic to see Dave Chappelle do that with all the different characters that he played. But yeah, the it's very intense. I think it's been renewed already for 2 more seasons on AMC. But I will say this: everyone always says Daryl. If Daryl dies, we riot. Carol is my favorite on the show. Carol is by far she's taken the biggest journey of any of the characters. You can check them out Sunday nights on AMC, The Walking Dead. Catch up on Netflix. I always tell my friends to check it out there. Thank you for sticking around with us for another episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tune in next week for our first annual trivia night starring Max on Movies. We'll talk to you then.
It's not in the way you watch iZombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young Arts. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you very much, St. Louis. Good night.